someone who needs me to kick their ass?
Let's get this shared out. Tony, there you are. How you doing today, buddy?
Avalanche Multimedia said, "Sorry about my poor timing earlier."
No worries. No, we just got a lot going on here at the house. That was completely unexpected, so we're adjusting and moving on. And it's entirely possible that I may end up shutting down stream early. But we'll cross that bridge if we come to it.
Avalanche Multimedia said, "So was me, mate, was me."
And to answer your question in text, yeah, I think that's where I saw the first time someone using a wireless repeater to do network storage. But you know me, I follow a lot of tech channels, and I'm not going to swear that's the first time I saw somebody do it. But yeah, there's ways to do it without doing the traditional network storage.
Avalanche Multimedia said, "Came without warning."
Hey, you know, I woke up this morning and was taking my time with my chores because I didn't expect anything was going on. So
Avalanche Multimedia said, "Something you'll look into, but looks a headache to me."
it's not your normal text, so I can understand it looking like a headache. And I don't do networking normally, so it is a little bit outside of my skill set, but it looks simpler than setting up a server, which is the traditional way of doing network storage. So I threw it out there as an option. I could have sworn I was in my room when I logged out. I'm certainly dressed like I was in my room.
The door won't budge.
Avalanche Multimedia said, "You know the programs from Tenorshare that said parameters errors, they run and work on the 750 GB original copy, so SSD had fault then."
I'll take your word for it. I think I remember. Now, what's his name's not behind the bar. I can get all the way back here and find nothing.
I'm watching you, newcomer.
All right, fish face. Okay, so I still need to find what happened to Herbert Glover.
Avalanche Multimedia said, "I'm cloning SSD to 4TB HDD now, seeing how is acting as a data drive but wants to act as dead drive in booting. See if I can get system up on 4TB like I'm want him, just be slower till I can get new SSD."
Well, it's probably best way to do it. There's something fishy about that drive. I'm wondering if it was, if it didn't pass quality control and they sold it anyway.
Avalanche Multimedia said, "It's funny we eliminated it and then bam, blue crash restart in middle of video editing and then no boot."
So I just need to keep looking around Old Grove, I guess. I suppose I could just come down to Seaside and then run up and down Warwick, look for houses to investigate, then Dunsany Street, see what other houses have been robbed. So I want to go east. The despair around here is incredible. They really did create this. That's done to me. Okay. Alright, so this is Seaside. We got some houses up on the cliff.
Avalanche Multimedia said. So guess 5 Bay was causing pressure on faults cause works fine powered up now on 750 GB just I don't trust it's making the sticking sound searching why copying updated partition to a new HDD while SSD is. Avalanche Multimedia said. Cooperating.
Well, I, generally speaking, don't like the sound of a sticking hard drive. I would rather hear that than see an SSD running slowly, because that's a sure sign that something is wrong. An SSD should never run
Avalanche
slowly.
Multimedia said. I was supposed to live on Unknown 9 Awakening. Avalanche Multimedia said. So both had a pretty rough day.
I feel like I've already been in this house.
Avalanche Multimedia said. So enjoy or live instead.
Yeah, there's still something upstairs. If I'm not mistaken, whatever's upstairs is big.
Avalanche Multimedia said. Wish back could give me extra day off, I gotta go back tomorrow. Avalanche Multimedia said. It's feeling better.
It's extraordinary, incredible, fabulous was right. I told them we weren't alone, that the ocean was talking to me, and now that it's flooding in, the ocean brings them with him. All these buffoons who would laugh behind my back, they now fear these wonders. At the sight of these magnificent specimens, they run in all directions. They do not realize the incredible
Glandry
chance.
Mage said, "Hey RP and all in chat."
Mage, welcome aboard! I need to get closer to these creatures, closer, always closer. I will finally be able to recognize my talent. One of these creatures might even carry my name. I will be praised by all the universities. They can't ignore me now. They'll stop thinking I'm mad. Oh joy, oh joy.
Avalanche
What a
Multimedia
pleasure. Come see
said,
me. I await your arrival.
"Mage, you need a new webcam. How are you?" Glandry Mage said, "Going, you'll be lurking for a bit."
Yeah, that damn thing didn't leave. I didn't kill him. He just went downstairs.
Glandry Mage said, "No new cam, I did not turn it on today." Avalanche Multimedia said,
This
"Oh,
building's
okay,
got
wonder."
a sub-basement. Okay.
Avalanche Multimedia said, "Should have your key for new Dragon Age soon."
I don't want the watery sub-basement.
Sherman Block LA said, "Hi RP."
Hello, Sherman. Welcome aboard.
Sherman Block LA said, "How many cocks and semen did you ingest today?" Avalanche Multimedia said, "See Rob, I come and the flock follows." Sherman Block LA said, "Yum yum." Sherman Block LA said, "Rob loves cock."
I should have known when I didn't recognize the name.
Avalanche Multimedia said. Dealt with Rob.
Yeah. Still hear something growling in the house. Do you hear it? Can't quite find it. And I can't exit through the backyard. At this point, I am really just kind of skulking through town. I'm assuming, which this is quite the leap of faith, that if I find other houses that were robbed, I'll get more information about the people who killed Herbert. That's a big assumption. But it's just about the only thing I've got to go on. Since the game is not really helping me out.
Hey, knock it off.
I'm tempted to save my progress and shoot that guy for telling me to knock it off. Just out of frustration, though. Not really hard to figure out what that story is. Another fast travel point.
Knock it off.
Tell me to knock it off. Now that's as far south as Dunsany goes, huh? This must be McGilla's house here.
Don't you have work to do?
The door won't budge.
That's interesting.
The door won't budge.
Whose house is that? Yeah, I know it's Carpenter Manor, but I can't get in there.
Hide it.
Take anything.
Just
Don't
take
kill
anything.
me.
Just don't kill me.
Help me.
Please.
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 I guess, don't shoot the bodyguards and the cops. It looks like they take that personally. So it looks like,
Don't you have work to do?
The door won't budge.
looks like they threw out a clan hood. Yeah, I reset the voice chatter. I just noticed that you said she's broken. Sorry about that, guys. That has seen better days. So is that car. This is Glover's house.
Avalanche Multimedia said, "No apology needed bro, just not needed or tolerate from M."
feel like I missed some evidence in here. Maybe there was a wall in the basement that I could have stared at and made to disappear like the wall in the other basement did. Definitely feel like I'm missing something. Although it did say all evidence was collected.
I'll find out why the old ape wants you so bad.
Eyes still wide open. Guess he didn't see the killing blow coming. Looks like they're short a full set. One of the mirrors was taken.
It's all I saw. Maybe something in the backyard?
The door won't budge.
Can't go into the backyard, huh? Nothing new back here.
The door won't budge.
Can't get into that house at this time. But apparently I'll be able to at some point. I'm a little bit lost here. I mean, I'm grateful that the game doesn't hold your hand and lets you try to figure things out. But at the same time, having some direction is not terrible. Yeah, this is the opposite of hand-holding. This is go screw yourself. We're not telling you where anything is. Nice postcards.
Avalanche Multimedia said, "It's you gotta learn for yourself."
Exactly. You've got to figure out the mystery on your own.
Core said, "Hello Rob." 00 Core said, "Hello everyone."
Hey Zero, welcome aboard.
00 Core said, "Glantree, Sherman."
But the when the extent of the mystery is go screw yourself, we're not telling you anything about the mystery, it's kind of frustrating. Because I don't know about you, but my experience is most gamers are not actual private investigators. This is weird. We know that there were robberies in town.
Avalanche Multimedia said, wouldn't have thought I was.
Right, but my observation on that point is the only clue I have right now is I need to find out what happened with Herbert Glover. Herbert Glover was stabbed by two people breaking into his house. He shot one of them.
Vault Girl 145 said, good afternoon RP.
Good afternoon, VG. Hope you're doing well today.
Avalanche Multimedia said, GG. Vault Girl 145 said, I'm good thank you. Vault Girl 145 said, hey Tony.
And you see what happened there? I didn't know if I was hitting him the first couple of times, even though it looked like I was aimed at him. What street am I on?
Extra, extra. All the news that's fit to print. Buy a paper, mister?
Clearly not.
Come. Find something you like. Cheaper than the rest.
What house was I in? And I only have 6 bullets or 12 bullets for that gun? Was it this house I was in? No. I mean, this is one of the houses I was in, but this isn't the house I was in. Was it this house?
The door won't budge.
This could be it. 2 ways into the kitchen. Convenient place for me to die. This is Glover's house. So clearly not the house I was looking for. Was I north or south of Glover's house? It would be nice if the map would put a marker where you died so you could go back there. I thought I was north. But I just came from this phone booth. And couldn't get into any of the houses. I could have sworn I was headed north, though. That's Glover's. This one's gonna say no entry.
The door won't budge.
There's nothing in this house.
Mark Jackson said, Uncle Rob, VG, Tony,
Not
0,
my nephew.
Chat, hello. Vault Girl 145 said, Hey Mark.
Come on down the stairs.
Mark Jackson said, VG, Annie has you scheduled for the 30th. It's Halloween. Hope ya make it. .004 said, Hello Mark. Mark Jackson said, the rest of you go sooner. Mark Jackson said, Hey Zero. Vault Girl 145 said, I'll do my best Mark. Mark Jackson said, seriously you all have a good holiday.
Damn it!
Phoenix said, "Hi Rob." Mark Jackson said, "Anyone doing a costume? I have little kids so I have to." Mark Jackson said, "Hey Denise." Vault Girl 145 said, "Hello Phoenix." Phoenix said, "My Marky," smiling face with hearts. Phoenix said, "Howdy VG."
I didn't even get into the basement of that house. I don't know if that house is necessary for the investigation. I don't know how I'm going to kill those creatures. There's too many of them all at once. After all, I am just a man with a Magnum. And a Molotov. And switching weapons in this game is somewhat slow. Yeah, you're not creepy.
Find something you like. Cheaper than the rest.
Phoenix said, "How is everyone doing?"
I'm doing okay, Denise. How are you today?
Mark Jackson said, "Sure Ranger could jump into this game and give you an AK, Rob."
Oh, I bet. Handmade. Some ultrasight ammo. Can't turn that off. That's not encouraging.
Phoenix said, "Doing lovely Rob, thanks. You seem quite concentrated today. The game giving you beef?"
Well, this game in particular doesn't give you any clues as to what the next step of your mission is. And it's frustrating, to say the least. Because if you can see, it says, I need to find out what happened to Herbert Glover. There are no map markers in this game.
Mark Jackson said. Trying to figure on what I'm going to be for Halloween, Denise. Kids expect us to do it. Kate is going as Morticia Adams. Phoenix said. Oh, goodness, that is frustrating. I'm sorry.
I know there were robberies
Phoenix
in this neighborhood.
said. Oh Lala, Kate will be so gorgeous.
So I'm trying to look around the neighborhood for other houses that were robbed to see if I can find clues that'll lead me to the robbers.
Phoenix said. Mark, we need to think of a costume for you. Mark Jackson said. Yeah, somehow she found a hotter dress too.
Is this the house that I just barely escaped from?
Vault Girl 145 said. All the clues you need are in the house RP.
Well, I've already gotten all of the clues from that house.
Phoenix said.
It's
Indeed, you might have to go in every house.
Part of the problem I'm having, VG, is when I looked in here, I got
Mark Jackson
all the clues according to...
said. I've got a couple ideas. Open to suggestion. Phoenix said. Mark, you could be a pirate.
So I'm looking at it, and Squint mentioned this is not his first robbery in the district.
JWLZ said.
Hey, Julie.
Hi, Rob and everyone.
So
Phoenix said.
That's why I'm
Hi,
looking in
Jules.
the other houses to
Mark
see if I can
Jackson
find anything
said.
that's going to lead me
Hey, Julie.
to Squint.
JWLZ said. Mark, how about Beetlejuice?
And of course, the Mind Palace is blank on this case.
JWLZ said. Hi, Denise. Vault Girl 145 said. Did you do the statue puzzle in his house?
I did.
Vault Girl 145 said. Hello, Julie.
Yeah, I turned the head on one statue and put the head on the other statue and got into the room, and all that was in there was some...
JWLZ said. Hello, VG. JWLZ
all that was in there was a little
said.
chest
Hi, Mark. Mark
for me to
Jackson
pillage.
said. Not bad, Beetlejuice, don't shower or shave for a week. Put something stupid on. But people might mistake me for Rob. Vault Girl 145 said. Have you tried going to the police department for info on Skunit?
No, I hadn't thought about that. Where's the police department here? It's all the way over here. Have I just... That's north of the hotel. So where am I standing right now? smack dab in the middle of the spot where the two fast travel points are. I guess I'm sort of closer to this one.
Help me, please.
Phoenix said,
What's your problem?
"This reminds me of L.A. Noire."
It does sort of have that feel, doesn't it?
Mark Jackson said, "Kidding, Rob. You look good, bro."
Really? Because I feel like 12 miles of bad road.
Phoenix said, "Julie, nice to see you. How you been?" Phoenix said, "Of course, Rob is a very nice looking man." Mark Jackson said, "Denise, Julie, what I am thinking of, and I could pull it off pretty good, is the bad guy from the movie Cobra."
Okay, so I can't get up
JWLZ
on the street
said,
that way.
"Same to you, Denise. Doing okay, thanks.
But I
How are you
bet
doing?"
Freedom Ave has
Mark
a
Jackson
dock.
said, "And I want to ride it in a real Jeep, Rob."
I got the privilege of driving a World War II era Jeep. When I was in Pennsylvania. And
JWLZ said, "Cool, Mark."
yeah, I want to go right. Our commanding general from the post had a World War II era Jeep that only a handful of us on post were authorized to drive for him. And I was one of them. And let me tell you, that was a real treat driving that thing. Don't get me wrong, it drove like a World War II era Jeep.
Said, "I'm doing great, Julie, thank you. I got a bed last night finally. No more sleeping on the floor and three-legged futons, lol."
Congratulations. So those three-legged futons, it still sounds like a euphemism for something.
Phoenix said, "Who is that bad guy, Mark?" Mark Jackson said, "Have the knife and coat, Julie, just need a wig, and I have similar facial features." Phoenix said,
Can't go through the park.
"I haven't seen it."
Boy, that's a restoration waiting to happen, huh?
Phoenix said, "LOL indeed, Rob." Mark Jackson
Hello, officer.
said,
Well, look who
"Have to look
finally
it up,
decided to
Denise.
show up.
Do an
If it
image
ain't
search."
Charles Reed, the genius that cracked the case of Albert Throgmorton. Captain Caleb Lyons at your service. What can we simpletons do to assist you, Mr. Holmes?
Mark Jackson said,
You and
"Nice,
I have
Denise."
a problem, officer.
No. Aside from making everyone in the Oakmont Police Department look like
JWLZ
idiots, let me be frank,
said,
newcomer.
"Sounds
You
good,
ain't
Denise."
You slip up, don't cross a T or dot an I, and I'll treat you like every other criminal here.
Mark Jackson
Okay.
said.
Well,
I
can
even
use the
sound like
police
him.
archive in the meantime.
You can, but only because of Mr. Throgmorton's patronage. And
JWLZ
you're on
said.
mighty thin ice.
Wig nice
And I'll
one
be
Mark.
under it when it breaks.
Phoenix said. And thanks Rob, after 6 years, gosh it takes a while to rebuild, that or I just put my priorities on other stuff, maybe a little of both.
We can't get medical financing for it that bad. Medicaid said no. So, I have to work it out. But I found a couple places that might give it to us for free. Can I keep the door partially, just in case someone knocks on the door? Or rings the doorbell? Everyone's asleep, except for Ahadi, who's currently playing.
Yep.
Mark Jackson said. Built a 43 Willis for my dad a while back, Rob. But gave it an LS, and of course he died, so it's sitting in the barn.
Now, those old Jeeps are amazing pieces of work.
Phoenix said. What's the 43 Willie?
.43 Willis is a Jeep. I forget is it Old Grove? Must be Old Grove.
Phoenix said. Ah. .00 Core said. 1943 Willie's Jeep, right, Rob? Mark Jackson said. Alright Denise, the guy in Cobra has no name. They just call him the Night Stalker in the movie, so search that. Mark Jackson said. You'd be right, Zero. Phoenix said. Mark, you could be a warlock. .00 Core said. There was one of those for sale in my town up near where I used to live for years. Phoenix said. Hi Zero. .00 Core said. Hello Phoenix. Mark Jackson said. It's got all Yukon gears, Dana 60 axles, new stuff, but it served in World War II. Phoenix said. Does it look pretty? .00 Core
I hate
said,
their search
if
method.
I had the money and the knowledge to fix it, I would have bought it. Mark Jackson said. Looks classic military, Denise. I think it's beautiful. JWLZ said. Hi Zero.
Alright, the district is Old Grove. Alright.
.00 Core said. Hello Jules.
We're looking for somebody who broke into other places in Old Grove.
Phoenix
So they're going to be
said.
crimes, property
lovely.
crimes.
Mark Jackson said. 0 just like the Charger and the GTO, I just couldn't find original parts. Wanted to give it more beans anyway.
Why won't it lock in on Old Grove?
Vault Girl 145 said. Not evidence RP try district.
Yeah, district. But I have to choose evidence as part of the things to search for. It won't let me skip it.
Said. Ah, I see. Well, I know getting OG parts can be a challenge for some vehicles. Not surprised to hear that. Vault Girl 145 said. You only need 3 out of the 4 search options. 00 core.
Alright, let's try skipping it.
More beans EY.
Alright, crimes. Property crimes. Suspects. Old Groves. Complaints.
Phoenix said. What kind of beans we talking about? 00 core said. Boafembot can't pronounce EY correctly. Mark Jackson said. Yeah, 0 going from, model depending, 65 to 80 horsepower to around 250. More beans. It's too much to be honest. They were already dangerous vehicles, this one, you're in real trouble. 00 core said. Nice.
It should be coming up. We know it's Old Grove. No type of crime is coming up in Old Grove. Under suspect, witness, victims, or officers.
Vault Girl 145 said. Property crimes, suspect in Old Grove should give you what you need, so if it's not you're missing something.
Property crimes.
00 core
Suspect
said. This may
Old
sound
Grove.
strange, but I never felt the bug to upgrade my engines, because I was always able to push my vehicles well beyond their limits without any
And
issues.
if we look,
Mark Jackson said.
All
Nobody,
evidence collected.
including me, likes driving it. Think when this Sunfire dies, I'll swap in the 2.2L. 00 core. Said. Which vehicle, Mark?
Is that a Pontiac Sunfire, Mark?
Zero core. Said. Oh Sunfire, my bad. Mark Jackson. Said. 0, this Willis cast iron block. Left outside, block froze and cracked. I couldn't save it. Finding a 40 to 42 factory motor, people don't give those up. Vault Girl 145. Said. Did you find the additional evidence at the house?
I found everything at the house. There's nothing left to find there. That's the part that's irritating me. I found the snippet of him examining the mirror at his desk. I found the little movie scene of him.
Oh God,
finding
that's horrible. Sorry to hear that.
The crime in progress. I found all his notes. There was nothing at that house I missed. Welcome back, Mage.
Glantree Mage. Said. I have returned. Zero core. Said. WB Glantree. Vault Girl 145. Said. Hello Glantree. Mark Jackson. Said. Hey Yam H. Phoenix. Said. Welcome back Glantree.
Is that someone who needs me to prepare this?
Y'all need to put stuff here for me to steal. What kind of police station are you?
JWLZ. Said. Hi Mage. 00 core. Said. By the way Mark, for the most part though, I'm the get the most from what you have and make it last kinda guy. 00 core. Said. I mean regarding vehicles. Vault Girl 145. Said. You found the letter, the newspaper clipping, the painting, and the mind's eye vision?
Yeah. And I'm gonna go back to the house and review it all again. Well, I'm gonna review anything it lets me review again. They need more fast travel points in this city. None of them are near where they need to be.
Mark Jackson. Said. Me too 0, especially computers. Didn't get a 4090 to be cool. Got it because I hope it lasts 10 to 12 years.
Something tells me I'm not...
00 core. Said. Same reason I got the Ryzen 950
Going
950X
this
something
way.
to last 10 years, not to be cool.
It sure looks like I could jump over that, doesn't it? I can. Pardon me, ladies.
What's your problem? Damn you, cocks.
You know what? The hospital's here.
00
I just had
core.
a thought.
Said. The
He shot one of them.
4090 has 24 GB, right, Mark? Sorry, I forget.
Be safe. We don't have any free beds left.
Mark Jackson. Said. Kinda banking that the 4090 will take up the 1080 Ti's legend. Which can still run stuff today. Vault Girl 145. Said. Did you do the tear in time mind's eye thing at the house? Mark Jackson.
I did.
Said. Yeah, 024.
Oh, he shot one of them, but that doesn't mean I went to the hospital. It was worth a try.
Zero core. Said. That means it will not only stay strong in gaming for a long time but be able to run AI very well locally on your system as well if you chose to. Mark Jackson. Said. It's the pipelines to that RAM though. Megahertz it's quick, but 4 times the pipelines it blows the doors of any other card.
Now you know, if your computer blows,
00
Mark
core.
wants it.
Said. AI is actually memory instead of GPU heavy. Phoenix. Said. BRB.
Okay. Did I miss anything in this room? Because this room was just that
00 core. Said.
chest.
24 GB of super fast memory means it's great for AI. Mark Jackson. Said. Agreed 0.
Mark loves things that blow.
Yeah, you like what you see, buddy?
Yeah, I remember that painting. I looked at
I'll
this.
find out why the old ape wants you so bad.
Vault Girl 145. Said. What was that on the floor by the doorway? 00 core. Said. Not to mention 24 GB gives you a really large window for gaming as well. Mark Jackson. Said. Yeah, 0, which is why the US government won't let the 4090 be sold in China.
Yeah, it's just
00
it's just
core.
catching that.
Said. Yet I knew about that, Mark. Vault Girl 145. Said. No, it was back before you came down to this room.
Him?
Eyes still wide open. Guess he didn't see the killing blow coming.
Vault Girl 145. Said. It was his body. Mark Jackson.
Yeah,
said.
I've...
Look it up. They sell one, but a lot less powerful with more primitive architecture.
I've definitely clicked on
core.
everything up here.
Said. But it's not stopping them, they are just buying up the cheaper cards to do AI. Zero core. Said. Yes, the 4090D, don't have to look it up. 00 core. Said. D for Dragon Edition.
And down here is where I found the head.
Mark Jackson. Said. Oh, sorry, 0, misread. Though you said you never knew. My bad. Either way, that card pushes, it seems, classified tech. They even lie about it in performance reviews.
There appears to be nothing I have not looked at.
Mark Jackson. Said. And if you let it off the chain with an OC, it'll run at 30C 40% faster than stock. Mark Jackson. Said. That's the 10, Dragon. The crippled one.
Unless there's something
00
outside.
core. Said. There are a lot of strange cards that are limited in one way or another, where if you remove the limit they go super hard.
Nope, nothing outside.
Mark Jackson. Said. Never seen a card go this hard, and run this cool, 0. And I've OC'd for over 25 years.
I'm at a loss.
Vault Girl 145 said, "From what I am reading, all clues are in the house, which then leads you to the police station to find Squint's address." 00 Core said, "It's just like AMD was limiting the 9000 series in voltage and current, but they knew they had more on the table, then later released a BIOS AGISA update to remove that limit. To much criticism." Mark Jackson said, "There's a reason that card I finally discovered takes all those watts. It wrangled way back from the factory."
Find something you like. Cheaper than the rest. Extra, extra. All the news that's fit to print. Buy paper instead.
There has got to be somewhere in this area a fast travel point.
Zero Core said, "Well, when you consider how many AI cores, SUs and CUs that card has not mentioned how many ray tracing cores I get the high power draw." Mark Jackson said, "Well, GPUs had things my way, I'd hop in a time machine and go back to 3DFX." 00 Core said, "By AI cores I meant the Turing cores or whatever they have become now." Mark Jackson said, "Built a couple retros recently with voodoos in them. Can't do anything with them now. But if you want to play Quake like no other."
Here we go.
Zero Core said, "That's awesome."
Property crime. Suspect. Old Grove. I have everything from that house. We just went through. There's not a single dot in that house we didn't touch. I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
Mark Jackson said, "Now, I'm just glad AMD is too powerful for Intel to run them / buy them out like they did Voodoo."
Yeah, Mark. I agree with that. Not to mention the FEC would never permit them to buy them. I'm at a loss. How do you reconcile that?
00 Core said, "Actually, Intel is possibly going to sell Intel now. They are considering it." Zero Core said, "I wish I was joking. Qualcomm has already made advances towards buying them." Zero Core said, "As in they have been talking about it with Intel."
I don't understand where to go from here.
Mark Jackson said, "Haven't heard of that, Zero, but I drop the news / reviews when I'm done build a rig. Pick it back up again when I build another."
Like I said, I tried to go house to house to see if I could find other evidence.
Zero Core said, "I wish I could help Rob, but never been this far."
Well, VG just went and checked to make sure that she was right. And I collected every bit of evidence in Herbert Glover's house. We went back and we reviewed everything that is touchable in Herbert Glover's house. There is nothing left to collect there.
Zero Core said, "Ah, so you're an occasional consumer of tech news, okay?" Mark Jackson said, "Does Herbert Glover have a home? Or a friend? Or a file?"
Well, you see, this is the thing. You're only allowed to touch the things that the game has indicated are touchable. We went to his house, we found him dead, and we encountered the evidence. Some things you can only look at once, and then they're gone forever.
Zero Core said, could it be a bug, like the mission failed to update?
I suppose it could be, but that makes the least amount of sense of anything. Because usually when the mission fails to update, it's because you got killed during the mission, and this particular mission, his house didn't have anything that could kill me in it. His house was literally just information. I appreciate that, BJ.
Said, sent you what I was looking at, RP. Vault Girl 145 said, if it's not updated then there is something missing. Zero Core said, oh, quite the mystery. Mark Jackson.
See, I should have gotten an update when
my reply was censored. I do a lot of projects. I tend to focus on knowing everything about the project I'm doing.
Once I got all the evidence, I should have gotten an update to this that changed this to the art collector's demise. And the art collector's demise
Zero Core said, makes sense. Mark Jackson
is what you take
said,
to the police department.
Researched my rigs for months before I built them. Know everything about them. Done. On to cars, or good winter tires, that kind of thing.
Or is that what I'm actually on? Yeah, that's what I'm actually on. So it did update to the art collector's demise. Even though it still says a delicate matter here, that's what it's updated to that here. Best I can do is just go back to the house and see if there's something touchable that I've missed touching.
Zero Core said, nice. Mark Jackson said, just now it's how many teeth I want in my socket wrenches draw vs torque. And of course, I have a team counting on me in 76, so time to know everything. 00 Core said, my sole focus right now is finishing the repairs on my SUV to make it safe again. Mark Jackson said, yeah, Zero, I can't be all about aircraft, computers and cars and a dad, at the same time.
Well, you could be. You just have to give up on little things like, you know, breathing and eating.
Mark Jackson said, so I haven't read a computer article about the biz and new tech in months.
I've come in here so many times, I can't carry all the stuff that you can find.
Mark Jackson
I'll
said,
find out why the old
be a
ape
good
wants
dad,
you so
be good in
bad.
bed. Only a couple more slots available for sole focus. Avalanche Multimedia said, MR Jackson
Slight
and
scratches
MR
around the
Phoenix
keyhole.
saluting face.
Whoever broke in knew how to pick a lock. Huh.
Mark Jackson
That's a lot of warning shots.
said, hey Tony.
Yeah, you like what you see, buddy? Looks like they're short a full set. One of the mirrors was taken. Eyes still wide open. Guess he didn't see the killing blow coming.
00 Core said, well, Intel is considering the possibility of selling their company. AMD and Intel have joined forces to create a coalition to advance x86 tech. What else?
Okay. All the things that I could have found. An old newspaper. The letter to Mr. Throgmorton. The painting. The mind's eye vision.
00 Core said, think that's all the important stuff. Mark Jackson said, carrot, now that's effing weird right there. Avalanche Multimedia said, you notice Mark, you got member Badra.
And I already
Mark
picked
Jackson
up
said,
the
I did,
picture
Tony, thank you.
of the mirror. There is nothing at this house related to this case that I have not touched.
Mark Jackson said. Rob, take a 3-minute break. Then spend 5 minutes in every room. Wall, ceiling, paintings. Just do a little walking, bro. Avalanche Multimedia said. YT, actually at random I just put my monthly gift in for him and they picked random 5.
But that's the thing, Mark. There's just nothing left to look at.
Mark Jackson said. Well, thanks. Avalanche Multimedia said. Pixel got it twice, don't know how YT see that a random. Mark Jackson said. I thought I did, thank you, but if I didn't, you have it now.
I'm not trying to be obtuse about it. Everybody can see everything in this house just like me.
Avalanche Multimedia said. No, but yeah, I have now just doing my bit.
And the only things that are marked are the doors in and out of the place. Other than the steamer trunks, which I literally can't take anything out of because I'm carrying everything in inventory. I've already touched everything in the house.
I'll find out why the old ape wants you so bad.
Avalanche Multimedia said. Aren't I, Rob?
Yeah.
Mark Jackson said. Possible to restart the game? Load previous save? Either way, I would stretch my legs. This is why you have to do lines with me, bro.
I'm pretty sure the game's already doing lines with you.
Avalanche Multimedia said. He's already fondled every doorknob and bedpost.
Wait a minute. Because we're watching the wrong crime or the wrong quest. it's a subquest of... This is why I really don't like the mechanics in this game. I suddenly realized Squint isn't mentioned on the left side of the screen. Did we just waste 30 minutes looking back and forth for Squint?
Avalanche Multimedia said, "You have got lyricals to refer to. Oh, that helps being on right quest."
Intersection of Moorland and Salvation. His crimes are jaywalking, lollygagging, and jury duty dodging. Only one of those is actually a crime. Heck, one of them's just laziness. Moorland and Salvation.
Mark Jackson said, "I have to run to the store. See you tomorrow, Rob, if I don't before. Nice chatting with you all, take care."
Be safe, Mr. Jackson. Moorland and Salvation.
00 Core
Salvation at?
said, "Have
Here's
a good night, Mark."
Salvation and Moorland. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up our boat at the end of Freedom.
Vault Girl 145 said, "Have a good one, Mark."
We can
Avalanche
take
Multimedia
Mayflower straight
said,
down.
"You too,
to
Mr.
Moorland.
Jackson. You may see me, you may not."
So let's go over to Freedom to pick up our boat, and then we'll take a left on Mayflower and go straight down to Moorland. Well, it'll be Old Church, and then we'll split off onto Moorland. And then we just have to run all the way down till
JWLZ
it
said,
becomes dry.
"Later,
'Cause
Mark."
there's Salvation.
Avalanche Multimedia said, depends on miracles I pull off between now and 76.
I believe in miracles. Am I already off the road? I think this is my road. I'm not sure because... yeah, I'm on my right road. Because I am terrible at following the map in this game. More so than in other games.
Avalanche Multimedia said, could do with some Rob, try not to crash the boat.
You saying I have some questionable boating skills?
Please, help me out. I'll take anything.
How about a quick kick in the face? I gave you one of those. I think this is the corner of Moreland and Salvation. It did not help me to come over here.
Zero Core said, oh yeah Rob, I'm finally getting my brakes fixed on the 24th, thank Gaia.
Yeah, having brakes is an important part of driving. Alright. Let's look in the casebook.
00 Core said. They think it's the brake booster combined with air in the lines. Why it's so squishy.
Resident Oakmont, Mass, Northern Salvation. West of the intersection of Moreland and Salvation. So instead of going east, let's go back to the intersection of Moreland and Salvation, which is
00 Core
this corner
said,
here.
but they won't know for sure till they get to working on it naturally. Avalanche Multimedia said. That's great news. 0 be good for yat. This is the west side of this intersection. But again, their instructions are a little bit unhappy. Because what does this say? It says Oakmont, Mass, which is the town we're in, Northern Salvation Harbor, west of the intersection of Moreland and Salvation. Moreland, Salvation. There's a lot that's west of that intersection. I mean, there's the... Avalanche Multimedia
There's a lot
said,
over here.
How mo?
Anything in this area is west of that intersection. Now, granted, I went more south, but I wanted to check any of these buildings to see if they had doors. There's one with a door.
Avalanche Multimedia said, how come most of my disc games wouldn't run on Win 10? Check vendor suddenly run on Win 11 then Rob.
You're asking me something I just don't know the answer to, Tony.
Avalanche Multimedia said. They put kernel codes back cause of angry customers.
Stokes, the price for a separate burial for your mother, Martha Stokes, is 30 bullets. The morgue cannot give you a discount. There are more requests for burials than we have resources or manpower to satisfy. You must make the payment in 2 weeks, or we will have to inter your mother in a mass grave.
I'm happy to say I've never been hungry enough to consider eating whatever this is.
Avalanche Multimedia said. True wondered if had theory.
Generally speaking, Windows 11 does not like older software.
Looks like Squint was having a bad day. Survived getting shot.
Avalanche
just to be
Multimedia
stabbed to death.
Said.
But who did it?
You're still very knowledgeable, Rob, even when you don't know you have been right on theories.
Killed him. What have I done? What in the world have I done?
Well, luckily, computers haven't changed all that much over the years. And when they have changed, it's been in a pattern that I could follow, but as I've said before, I am much more of a hardware guy than a software guy. I feel like
Rest in peace.
Avalanche Multimedia said. That's very true.
there is a basement here. I just haven't been able to find the way into it. Because I can see down there that there's a basement. Where is the secret entrance to the basement, though?
Avalanche Multimedia said, but think I'm gonna have headache doing network storage, couldn't even figure out RAID.
Well, it's usually worth doing. Looks like I've gotten everything from here, but I don't want to say for sure that I have until I see it shows his residence, but it doesn't show the green. Maybe there's an outside door to the cellar.
Is that someone who needs me to kick their ass? Is that someone who needs me to kick their ass?
Oh, that one doesn't let me in. That's for sure.
Avalanche Multimedia said, well, if my buddy Linus and Jay can, sure I can. Just from scene gonna be a lot of stop starting vids following.
Well, what I usually do when I'm going to follow
Avalanche Multimedia
a video on how to do
said,
something is I review
"You'll
it.
give a go."
I review it 3 or 4 times, and I take notes. Then I try and follow it. Let's take a look at
Avalanche Multimedia
the case book.
said, I did modify my camp this morning.
Casebook hasn't been updated. The mirror wasn't in there. Where is the morgue?
Avalanche Multimedia said, Notes wouldn't help, I'm not normal, I have physically do tasks.
Here's the asylum. The hospital. The hospital might have the morgue in it. But I feel like that's... That's Oakmont City Hall. I'm not sure where the morgue is, other than possibly at the hospital. I suppose that would make the most sense, right? We already know that Squint's dead.
Avalanche Multimedia said, well, 57% done.
Worst that happens, I go to the hospital and that's not the right place, right?
Avalanche Multimedia said, so we are the detectives solving murders, right?
Basically, yes.
Something you like. Cheaper than the rest.
This should be the morgue here. No, it's surgery. Yeah, see, the morgue is not here. I was mistaken. The clue I got from his house was that he wanted or needed to bury his mother. But I don't know where the morgue is to follow up on that. So the question is there anything else I can find inside the house?
Rest in peace. I'm happy to say I've never been hungry enough to consider eating whatever this is. Let's go take another look at the body. Maybe there's more to look at up here with the body. Aha!
At long last, I'll fix what that old ape lover Francis did to you.
Hark! Get away from the... Oh, thank the gods. I thought you were another monster.
Sydney Stokes, I presume.
Aye, that's right. Do I know you?
Don't think so. I'm here about Herbert Glover. I believe you know him. Or should I say, knew him.
Okay.
Nice trick with the wall. How'd you manage it?
It wasn't me. She put the wall there with some kind of hocus pocus.
You said she put the wall here. Who is she?
She's our employer. I don't know her name or anything. She promised us a good payout for a simple job. And I fell for it like a chump.
Come on, paint me a picture. What did this woman look like?
She was tall and thin, very thin. Just skin and bones. Mean like a rattlesnake. That's all I can remember. I didn't look too close at her.
So where's this fancy mirror now?
She took it. When me and Phil met her with the goods, they got into a big blowout and she shivved him. Okay, what am I to do now? Phil was the idea guy. I'm just a sap.
What did she hire you to do?
The job seemed simple enough. Go to the collector's house, grab some fancy mirror, and then hoof it out of there.
Were you hired to kill the collector, too? Or was that just for laughs?
I swear to Kay, it wasn't part of the plan. It was an accident. The guy started shooting at us, and I panicked.
You panicked? Really? That's your excuse?
Please, as Kay is my witness, I didn't mean to kill anyone. I'll give you everything. I have. Just let me walk.
I don't see any advantage in turning him in.
Look, you might be a sap, but at least you're not a sap. I'll look the other way, but you better get scarce, and fast.
Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. You won't see me again, I swear. Here, take this. Thanks again.
Two men broke into an old wholesale specific mirror. One of them, an experienced thief nicknamed Squint, proceeded to crack a safe, alerted the owner, and got a bullet. The second burglar killed the owner with a knife. Squint mentioned this is not the first robbery in the district. He was hired by a strange woman to steal a specific mirror. Stokes accidentally killed Herbert in the robbery. They later met with the woman at Sydney's place, where she killed Phil, took the mirror, and locked Sydney inside.
Vault Girl 145 said, I think I let him go also. 00 Core said, you won't see me again, I swear. Then doesn't budge from his spot, lol.
Let's see what Throgmorton says. An unknown woman took possession of the mirror that thieves stole from Glover's residence. She killed Phil O'Connell, also known in the street as Squint. She said that she'd fix what Francis had done. She may look old, but there's not a frail bone in her body, and still more than capable of murder. Wow, she left him in here with, like, every copy of Sunfight, whatever that Aubrey's is. I don't know if that's food or boxed games. No, Sunfight looks like soap. Gel tablet. Gel babies. Victor gel babies. Don't know what those are. Two different types of soap. I don't know what gel babies are. She was just planning on letting him die. She gave him some reading material, though. Let's go see McGilla.
What's your problem?
I don't actually have a problem. I just like running into you. There's McGilla's house. In loving memory, Albert Throgmorton, son of respected Robert Throgmorton, a descendant of the robust bloodline, died on Thursday at Oakmont Port, aged 25 years. We mourn his untimely death, but we celebrate the way he lived his life. The Throgmorton family appreciates the many comforting words and prayers sent by the citizens of Oakmont. It's okay. No, really, it's okay.
I've looked into your delicate matter.
Excellent. Don't spare me any details.
Glover's dead. He was killed by a man named Sidney Stokes, who happened to be robbing his place. He wasn't working alone. He had a partner, Phil O'Connell. Didn't end up much better. All over some kind of mirror, apparently.
Truck. Where is it now?
Their employer has it. There's some mystery. I didn't get her name, but she obviously wasn't fooling around.
I see. So, my enigmatic competitor has finally shown her hand. And the thieves are both dead, you say?
Their employer decided to bump them off. Now, I hope that's not standard business practice in these parts.
You've proven to be far more valuable to me alive than dead, Mr. Reed. You have nothing to worry about in that regard.
It wouldn't have killed you to let me know you were going after the mirror from the start.
As I said, this is a very delicate matter. I wasn't confident I could trust you with such sensitive information until now.
All right. I've held up my end of the bargain. Now, it's your turn.
Of course, Mr. Reed. Here's your payment. Now that you know everything, would you accept the second part of the job?
Let me guess. You want me to track down the mirror?
Yes. And the one who so rudely snatched it from my grasp.
I'm on it. Only got one lead, though. Our culprit had a bone to pick with someone named Francis. Mean anything to you?
Ah, yes. That is without doubt my father, Francis Throgmorton. May rest his soul.
What's he got to do with this?
I found mention of the mirror in his records. That's what led me to take interest.
You mentioned your father left records. Mind if I take a gander at them?
The prospect of you rifling through my father's possessions does not fill me with joy, Mr. Reed. But if that's what you need, so be it. Take this key.
12-gauge shell. New case through the looking glass. Still haven't given me a shotgun. McGilla. Alright, Herbert Glover's death did not interest Robert as much as the mirror stolen from him. The culprit is a woman who has a bone to pick with certain Francis, despite working against Robert Throgmorton. He may know more. Francis is Robert's dad. He had a study in the manor. Robert cleared me to check it and gave me the key. Crudely drawn picture of the mirror. A long, ornate metal key with the Throgmorton family crest on the head.
competition has touched him up well.
Francis Throgmorton discovers the unknown Africa.
Looking sharp, but I guess that's the point. Huh, curious craftsmanship. These must be worth a fortune.
Francis Throgmorton's expedition to Africa has proven to be one of the most ambitious, if sadly unappreciated, undertakings of 1891. He has returned with numerous historical artifacts, invaluable anthropological research, a newborn son, christened Robert, and a plethora of fascinating cultural insights. Today, in an exclusive interview with the Oakmont Chronicle, he has agreed to share some of those insights with us.
"1891 must have been a busy year for Francis."
Francis, divorce is no simple matter these days. It has never been in my legal practice. You must clearly define the fault you shall present in court, the most common options being cruelty, adultery, or an incurable mental illness. It's my impression that your firstborn's death at the tender age of 7 dealt a blow to Bethany's health. I do sincerely hope she recovers, but the court won't share my concerns. Besides, Oakmont Asylum seems to be a very well-run place. Regards, Chauncey.
Now, that kid looks a little familiar.
Okay, I know a little bit more about Robert and Francis. I do love this little secretary's desk. Simplistic yet elegant at the same time. Nice shotgun. Still nothing down here for me to find, huh? In time, I guess.
Is that someone who needs me to kick their ass?
Yes, 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 but... Key evidence collected. Key evidence, but not all evidence. Am I to go to the asylum now?
Is that someone who needs me to kick their ass?
If I am, I would go out the back door, get on the boat, and just run down Marcuson to Almond or to Seaside. And come up at the asylum. Looks like I can get into the asylum here. Don't worry, lady. He's been dead since the beginning of the show. There's a travel point right over here. That I want to stop and gain access to.
Fresh fish. Just caught, mister. Fresh fish. Just caught, mister.
I'm glad your fish was just caught. That should be the asylum right there. Where is the records? In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Do I have to ask for permission to access the records?
My head! I still hear those voices.
Eventually you'll end up where you're meant to be, and will be doing what you're supposed to do. It sounds like the military entirely.
Water me. Don't just stare at my leaves.
The end is nigh. It will begin again.
Let's
down
play.
Comes up. The seed is sowed.
Somebody's singing. Beautiful. Beautiful. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need permission to look at the records.
Watch your pocket. Some patients here have wandering fingers.
I'm looking for Bethany Throgmorton. You got any patients by that name?
We'd know if we had a Throgmorton. Although, we do have a Bethany. Or rather, we did. She's missing. And not on one of her usual walks.
Her usual walks. You let patients leave the building?
Oh, Bethany was harmless. And she always came back. This time, well, I've never known her to be like that.
Any idea where she went?
No. She had been odd recently, though. Muttering to herself, and she drew this strange picture on her bedroom wall.
That's interesting. Can I take a look at her room?
I suppose it couldn't hurt. She had a separate room downstairs. Here's the key, but do watch out for broken glass.
Bye.
A separate room downstairs. That's different.
Do you see it?
Haven't you seen the beast?
Now let's keep a couple of brains in a jar on a desk.
At 7 years each, that's a lot of bad luck. I'm glad it's not mine.
All I do is for my dear Hammond. I cannot forget that. Shame on me for thinking that reprobate Squint had more common sense than greed in him. He got the mirror, and I do not care how he did it. But when the time came for the exchange, he wanted more. So much more. He had the gall to threaten me. Said he'd find a new buyer. What's done is done. No one has the right to come between a mother and her child. Young Hammond Throgmorton, Francis Throgmorton's firstborn, has been pronounced dead, mortally injured in a mysterious accident during a family holiday. Little Hammond could not be revived, despite his doctor's best efforts. The funeral will be held later this week, with only family and close friends attending. In this dark and tragic hour, we are trying to remain grateful for all we have, including baby Robert, shared Francis Throgmorton. As my sole remaining heir, I will do all I can to protect him.
Someone had a field day defacing these.
The other half of that picture.
Huh. Was this taken at gunpoint?
I will find it, baby boy. I promise. Just tell me more.
That doesn't look like Throgmorton's house. It would probably help if I picked up some skills, huh? I don't have any of these weapons. Definitely use the ability to carry more. Things you find by accident while looking at your inventory. I now know who the old woman is. It's Robert Throgmorton's mother. I should not have pinned that. Now I don't know how to get it unpinned. There we go. See, he doesn't look very ape-like. Nor does he.
I will find it, baby boy. I promise. Just tell me more.
Someone had a field day to facing these.
Nothing else in this room.
The blood's almost dry. There's enough dope left in here to knock out a horse.
Stop right there.
You no longer have any power over me. I have found my Hammond. He's shown me the way. In Salvation Harbor. I can't believe it. The answers have been there since last century.
Time to piece this one together.
Randall Glassworks. In Salvation Harbor. I can't believe you no longer have any power.
Stop right there.
Bethany escaped the asylum after getting the mirror from Glover. Next stop looks to be a factory called Randall Glassworks.
Yeah, you don't need to know anything. Salvation Harbor, which is over here. And I do have a quick travel point. Although I don't know where the Randall Glassworks is. Maybe I'll go see McGilla. See what he has to say. Maybe he knows where the Randall Glassworks is.
Your father led an expedition back in 1891. Do you know anything about it?
I'm not the best person to ask, I'm afraid. I was a babe in arms back then, and my father had never made his findings public. It is a great shame, of course. His work would have turned the science of evolution on its head.
Yeah, I couldn't see that. I had some questions about Bethany.
I beg your pardon? I don't believe I know anyone of that name.
Well, it came up during the investigation. See, your father divorced, and his ex-wife's name was Bethany.
Say no more. It is beyond my earliest memories. But, even if it weren't, my father's business is his own. I shall not engage in gossip.
Have a good day.
All right. That means I get to search on my own for the Glassworks. There's... Technically, I think this is the shell. Well, no, it's in the reddish part of the map, the pinkish part of the map. This could be the Glassworks. So let's take a look over here. See if that's the Glassworks. Squid pro quo. I know it didn't say squid. Alright, that's a church, not a Glassworks. That's a dangerous place. That's what that V looking symbol looks like is. Looking for something called Randall Glassworks. check this. This area is relatively small to search. That thing swimming by will eat your jujubes. If you fall out of the boat. And yes, you can fall out of the boat. What is this over here? This is just a railhead. Now it's getting dark. You know what? I am going to take my ass back to the hotel.
Budge. The door won't budge.
Is that someone who needs me to kick their ass?
Alright. Can almost see your reflection in the mirror. The only problem is if you look, that reflection, it's my back. My reflection is facing away from me. How creepy. There, at least now it looks a little bit better. Alright guys, I want to thank everybody for coming out for the up to 3.5 hours that we have been playing Sinking City. I got off to a late start due to some family issues here at the house, and we managed to keep going for the entire time. We will be back tomorrow night with Fallout 76, so until then, take care, everybody. Check in on friends and family and make sure everybody's doing okay. I'm Rob. Thanks for gaming with RP.